Hi, this is Steve Jordan. I'm here today with Core Cloud Systems, a new product that we've introduced from Core & Associates. We're really proud of this product. It's a web-based product, as you can tell. You can launch it within a web browser. We took the same concepts that we have in our accounts payable workflow and applied it to all the other forms that are used in a construction company. Secondarily, what we do is we allow our users to be able to design the forms so that the experience in the field is controlled by the actual application design. So we can have the language or any information that you want to be able to collect from the field on the form. You have that full control over the design of that form. I'm going to quickly go right here and show you an example of a form. And you'll see that there's unlimited uses of forms. So I'm going to come quickly in here and take a field purchase order and just show you some of the power that you can give to the form as you get your folks in the field to fill this out. You'll notice we have various question types. So this is an automatic incrementing question type, which automatically numbers it. We have a date type. When you get down here to the vendor, which is probably the most powerful feature of the system, is we have what we call entry point validation. This product is automatically tied to Sage. So that if you go in the field, if I'm selecting A1 Electric or whatever, I have the ability to have that entry point validation so that when the information gets over to Sage, for instance, this is a field purchase order, we want it to go to the commitment module of Sage, that this information can seamlessly go over there and eliminate the data entry associated with it. So this is how we set up the forms. Of course, we have other types of questions, and I'll just kind of move down to the bottom of the form. You can see here, you have the line items of the purchase order. You can duplicate, so if you're buying more than one item, you can duplicate the question so that, if you bought 2 or 3 items on a purchase order. You can notice too here, I can also take photographs of quotes, or I can upload a quote. So that basically as you're building this form, these documents will attach so that as you send this down the line and you have an image that's going to go in with the purchase order, you can have those documents associated with it so that when the vendor gets it, he can see exactly what he's looking at. And then finally, I'm going to set over here, this is our approval signatures. This is really unique in the fact that if you're on a mobile phone, you can signature approval, or we have what we call e-sign, which is controlled by your login. So if you're entering and validating or approving this particular form, you can go through and e-sign that form without having to do your signature. You can pre-establish a signature. And of course, you also can go in and email the document because you'd want to send that to the vendor, and then you would generally submit this particular form. So I'm going to pause right here. This is basically the experience that you're going to have in the form environment. And if you notice, it's very, very simple. We made it so that as you go through a form, there's not a lot of busyness, because you got to remember who's entering the information. This isn't your accounting person. This is generally somebody in the field. So all of the Core Cloud functionality was designed for field use. So this is one of the big keys to that particular aspect. Now, the other aspect of the system is the fact that this particular product is what we call smart data. Now, what smart data means is that every question that we ask, we can come in and we can search. And let's say that I know that I had done, let's say I'm looking for a radiator service that I knew I'd done a credit card receipt for. I can type in a partial search, hit search, and it's going to go through the system and pull out all the documents that radiator is associated with. So as you can see with Core Cloud Systems, the aspect of smart data allows us the ability to be able to collect the information on the form, but also it allows us to be able to search that information and put it to use. So not only can you send that information in to create a document inside of Sage or do data entry inside of Sage, but you can also take the information and utilize it in other reporting, which is another feature that we have in Core Cloud that comes out of our standard solution. Our advanced search actually takes it a step further to where you can put queries together and search different forms or multiple forms for a particular bit of information. So you can see we've designed the product to be very, very full-featured, just as our standard form management system is. Now, the other aspect that I want to talk about, because every form basically has to have a design or an output, then with our system, you can actually control how that output's going to look. So if you wanted your purchase order to look just like the purchase order your guys fill out in the field, except it's typewritten, you can then go in and design those particular forms with our form designer. So within the system itself, you have the ability to create your forms. You have the ability to integrate it with Sage. You can store the information for searching purposes, but you can also take the information and design what kind of image output that's going to go with that particular form. So you can see just out of our forms process that it's a very, very powerful system. And matter of fact, it's so powerful that we decided to include one license and the forms tool inside of our TimberScan family of products. So when you buy TimberScan today, you get this product for free. Now, let's move on, because I think it's important that you see the other functionality that we have. Because we started with forms, we decided that, instead of just collecting the credit card receipt, let's go ahead and take the process end to end. So we added to the credit card form collection the aspect of credit card reconciliation and transmission to Sage. As we open up the credit card system, you can see that basically inside the system, we can download the transactions from your vendor, your credit card vendor. We can match it with the receipts that we actually collected from the guys out in the field that are submitting the credit card receipts. And we can then take that information and reconcile it. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to go ahead and you can see right away, I can come up here, I can drill down to my downloaded transactions. You're going to see right off the bat that it allows you the ability of reconciliation. I want to make sure that you also understand that we are eliminating the data entry from the credit card process all the way through to Sage. So as we go in and we fill out the information, these are the downloaded transactions that came from our credit card company. These are the receipts that have been submitted. So if you see this little button up here, the reconcile, what's going to happen is that you're going to download the transaction into a statement, you're going to hit reconcile, and it's going to try to match what it can. The things that it can't find, you can go through there and what we call ding the cardholder. So it sends them an email and tells them, hey, we need a receipt. Can you submit a receipt for this so that we can get these transactions reconciled? If you don't want to do that, you can actually just create the receipt yourself. But once you've balanced out your reconciliation amount, then at the end of the process, you can turn around and transfer that to TimberScan. Now, if you think about what's fixing to happen is we have three methods of being able to transfer the information. We can send over one statement with the transactions in detail. We can send over the statement in summary, where your transactions are in summary. We can also send this the transactions in detail per vendor. So you get some options here on the credit card piece, but what's interesting here is I eliminate 70% of the process that you do with credit card receipts just by virtue of touching that button. There's no more data entry. I can send this directly to final approval and send it right into Sage so we can get that stuff in the system. Another aspect of the system is basically our purchase order system. Now, we have several versions of this, but I'll just take you through what we call our simple purchase order. You saw the forms, so we have the purchase order and the receiving form. But what you don't see, and what you haven't seen yet, is the approval system. In this particular system, as we create purchase orders, accounting then can collect those purchase orders here in the approval system. They can approve them. They can basically drill down and take a look at the different options, like they can actually edit the form, they can see the form and what it looks like. But as you go through here, they can come over here and approve it and then create the interface that sends it either into Sage Purchasing or into Sage Commitments. So that eliminates the double entry there. But what's really unique is that I can take both that purchase order and receiving transaction and I can send it into TimberScan as an image. So when the invoice comes in the door, you can then match up the PO and the receiver and have a three-way match or a two-way match solution for the purchasing side. Now, the final product here is our time entry. Our time entry is very unique in the fact that where we typically start with time entry is on the aspect of entering the time. So in a construction world, you have a lot of different opportunities here to where basically you can go enter time either as a crew, you can enter time as individual time. You can build a crew on the fly. There's just a lot of different things that you may use, or different types of data entry that you may use to handle the time entry. So what we've done is we've given you all of those opportunities to be able to enter time based on how you need to do it, and then have it all accumulate into an approval grid so that that information can be checked and then sent straight into Sage. So let me take you through that real quick. This particular entry style is what we call our daily report entry style. When you see how this is designed, basically what happens is when you come into the system, and I'll just go and pull up a daily report that we actually have in here so that you can see what that looks like. This entry functionality is very similar to what guys in the field are using, and we've incorporated time with the daily diary. So we can ask the daily diary questions, and these can be customized and then have time and per diem entered in the same environment. So your project manager or your superintendent only has one area that he's going to be working in during the course of the day. The time entry has a uniqueness to it because in this particular model, we come across the top and we put our cost codes across the top, so that basically it looks very much like a spreadsheet, and the integration is such that it's going to go in there and take a look at the Sage, and it's going to pull up the cost codes that are related to this particular job. So it has what we call cascading cost codes. So if I wanted to say put it here, and as I select my crews and my employees, I can spread that cost across the top, and I can have up to 16 different cost transactions over the course of a day. So that's plenty enough to be able to handle a daily's process. Now, once a timesheet is generated, you can go through an approval process, which means that this particular timesheet could be submitted around for approval so that basically they see the timesheet and that's what they would approve on. You can also push this straight to the grid and have them approve in the grid, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is one method of time entry. Of course, you can always build an e-form, which would be another type of time entry form. And then, of course, we also have in our system, if you come back over here, this is a new time entry system, and this is a high-speed data entry style. I actually designed the spreadsheet with another client that had a lot of guys out in the field, and they wanted to be able to bulk enter time. And they also wanted to be able to build their crews on the fly versus having the crews pre-built in the office. So we gave them all the flexibility within this timesheet to be able to do so. And one of the interesting components of the timesheet is that when you come here to actually enter the time here, the actual entry screen can be done on a mobile phone. As you can tell, this will actually fit itself on the mobile phone. Now, in this particular example, for instance, let's say that I have multiple folks on my crew. So I can come over here and I can multiply select all the different folks that I need to be able to put on my crew for that day, pick the job, pick the cost codes and the equipment if I had any, be able to select the pay type, and then it would automatically generate the transactions behind the scenes. And then I can then come back once it's finished and I can actually come over here and edit the transaction. So you can imagine this is a situation where, let's say you had 10 guys on your crew and you worked, say, 2 different cost codes, you'd have 20 transactions that you would have to enter. Here we can do that in a matter of seconds because we can apply the time to all 10 folks and then come back and make edits for overtime and time off and things like that basically in the system here. So you can see right away that this particular timesheet has a lot of functionality, and it allows us the ability to be able to take that information, get it into a format very quickly so that the guys in the field aren't spending all day keying in 200 entries on their phones. So with this timesheet, the daily report timesheet, which has also what we call the fast entry function built into it, is a very, very attractive component to the Core Cloud system and also to our clients that actually use the system. Core Cloud has a lot of new opportunities that we're building today called our foundation products. We're venturing into service management, into material management and buyout. We have an equipment module that we're working on, a sales order module. So you can see that we're not sitting still with this product. We're growing the product out because of the fact that it's web designed. It has that entry point validation, like I said, and the seamless integration that we have with TimberScan and Sage. This has proven itself to be a very powerful opportunity for us to really enhance our customers' business. And of course, we need to mention the mobile phone and how it plays into this. As you notice, because it's a web-based program, we can then deploy that on the browser of the mobile phone, and it scales itself to basically the size of the application or the device that you're using. Now, what's really great here is that everything that they do here in the website, it's identical here on the mobile app, so that they don't lose any functionality. It looks the same, so they can translate this on their desktop all the way out to the field using the mobile functionality. And all the entry point validation and all the things that we talked about are available here as a web application, and also as the application that you can download from the stores. So that's it for today. I'm Steve Jordan. Thank you for listening to our presentation.